At exactly 5:52 a.m., 40,000 feet over the Taiwan Strait. The water below was a dark, calm gray. The air was thin and incredibly cold, minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Two silver shapes cut through this freezing air. They were F-22 Raptors, the most expensive fighter jets ever built by the United States, costing over $140 million each. They belonged to the 27th Fighter Squadron. Their call signs were Ghost 1 and Ghost 2. They were patrolling a sensitive area just northeast of Taiwan. Below them, hundreds of miles away, a massive Chinese naval drill was waking up. It involved Type 055 destroyers, some of the most heavily armed ships on Earth. The American pilots were there just to watch. Their orders were strict: observe, record, and do not engage. The F-22s were flying in stealth mode. Their weapons, 6 AIM-120 radar-guided missiles and 2 smaller heat-seeking Sidewinders, were hidden inside internal bays to keep the plane smooth. Their powerful AN/APG-77 radars were turned off. They weren't sending out any signals. They were just listening, like hunters in a dark forest, using sensitive antennas hidden in the wings to pick up electronic noise from far away. The morning felt routine. The only sound in the cockpit was the rhythmic breathing of the pilot in his oxygen mask and the soft hum of the twin F-119 engines pushing them along at 600 miles per hour. But the routine was about to end with unparalleled violence. 150 miles to the west, 2 other shapes were climbing fast from a mainland airbase. They were darker, larger, and angular. These were Chengdu J-20s, the mighty dragons of the People's Liberation Army Air Force. They were China's answer to the American F-22. They were headed straight for the same patch of sky. The lead American pilot, Ghost 1, saw them first. He didn't see them with his eyes or even his radar. His passive sensor system, known as the ALR-94, picked up faint energy waves. It was the radar of the Chinese jets searching the sky ahead of them. The displays inside the F-22 helmet lit up. 2 red triangle symbols appeared on the glass visor. "Ghost flight, contact, 2 bandits, nose hot, 120 miles, Ghost 1 said quietly over the secure radio. The distance was 120 miles, and closing at a combined speed of over 1,200 miles per hour. Stealth fighters are not invisible. They are just very, very hard to see on radar until they are close. The game is to see the other guy before he sees you. The F-22 is designed to win this game every time." Ghost 1 made a quick decision. He didn't turn away. He pushed the throttles forward. The F-22s accelerated smoothly without using loud afterburners, entering super cruise. Their speed jumped to Mach 1.5, over 1,100 miles per hour. They were now rushing toward the Chinese jets faster than the speed of sound. The distance readout dropped fast, 90 miles, then 80, then 70. At 60 miles out, the situation changed drastically. The J-20 pilots realized something was wrong. Their own sensors were picking up strange echoes. They knew something was out there, but their radars couldn't lock onto the slippery shapes of the F-22s. The J-20 lead pilot reacted aggressively. He knew American jets were nearby spying on the naval drill. He decided to push them back. The 2 J-20s split up. One went high, climbing to 50,000 feet. The other stayed lower. They turned their search radars to maximum power, flooding the sky with electronic energy, trying to burn through the American stealth cloaking. Inside the F-22 cockpits, warning tones began to chirp. The American pilots were now painted by enemy radar. The J-20S knew roughly where they were, but not exactly enough to fire a missile. Not yet. The distance was now 40 miles. This is the edge of the no-escape zone for modern air-to-air missiles. Ghost 1 knew the J-20 carried very dangerous weapons. The Chinese PL-15 missile has a range of over 120 miles. It uses a special radar seeker that is very hard to jam. If the J-20's got a solid lock, the Americans would have only seconds to react. The American pilot's heart rate increased. He could feel the bladders in his G-suit squeeze his legs as he maneuvered the jet. He needed to change the geometry of the fight. "Ghost 2, bracket left, I'll take high right," Ghost 1 ordered. The 2 F-22s split up, creating space between them. This forced the Chinese radars to look in 2 different directions at once. It divided their attention. The J-20 leader, the one at 50,000 feet, saw the American jet split on his fuzzy radar screen. He made a split-second choice that nearly started a war. He turned his J-20 hard, pulling 6 Gs of force, pointing his nose directly at Ghost 1. Then he did something incredibly provocative. He opened his main weapon bay doors. This is a universal signal in aerial combat. It means, "I am getting ready to take you down." It takes about 2 seconds for the doors to snap open, exposing the missiles to the slipstream, ready for launch. The sensors on Ghost 1 instantly detected the doors opening. The F-22's computer system recognized the threat immediately. A loud, jarring warble tone filled the American pilot's headset. A red "launch warning" flashed on his main display screen. The distance was now 25 miles. They were traveling towards each other at nearly 2,000 miles per hour combined speed. They would merge in less than 45 seconds. The American pilot was now authorized to fire in self-defense. His thumb moved to the red weapons release button on the side stick controller. He selected an AIM-120D AMRAAM missile. Back at the Air Operations Center, hundreds of miles away, commanders were watching the data links in horror. They shouted orders into microphones, telling the pilots to de-escalate. But the speed of the jets outpaced the speed of the command chain. The pilots were on their own. Ghost 1 did not fire. Instead, he used his biggest advantage: information dominance. He knew exactly where the J-20 was, but the J-20 still only had a fuzzy idea of where he was. Ghost 1 decided to end the fight without firing a shot. He did this by showing the Chinese pilot just how vulnerable he really was. For the first time all morning, Ghost 1 turned on his massive AN/APG-77 attack radar. He didn't leave it on. He just flashed it for 2 seconds. He focused incredible amounts of radar energy directly at the lead J-20. It was like shining a billion candle power spotlight into a dark room. The effect inside the Chinese cockpit was chaos. Every warning system the J-20 had went crazy at once. Red lights flashed. The radar warning receiver screamed that a powerful fire control radar had locked onto them from close range. The message was clear. "I see you, I have a perfect lock, and you are inside my kill zone." It was a terrifying realization for the J-20 pilot. He thought he was the hunter, but he was actually the prey. He had opened his weapon bays, ruining his own stealth, while an F-22 he couldn't see perfectly had him targeted. Furthermore, the J-20 pilot realized he had lost track of the second American jet, Ghost 2. The wingman was somewhere out there, silent, probably behind him. The tactical situation for the Chinese jets collapsed in 3 seconds. The uncertainty was too high. The J-20 leader made the only rational choice. He snapped his weapon bay doors closed. He rolled his heavy jet inverted and pulled hard toward the ocean, diving away from the F-22s and turning back toward the safety of the Chinese naval fleet. His wingman quickly followed him down. The American pilots watched them go on their screens. They did not chase. They breathed a heavy sigh of relief into their masks. They turned their own radar back off and faded back into the quiet electronic background of the morning sky. The entire high-speed confrontation, from the moment the weapon doors opened to the moment the J-20s turned away, lasted only 28 seconds. No missiles were fired over the East China Sea that morning. No wreckage fell into the water. The news channels never heard about it. But the data tapes were reviewed by generals in both Washington and Beijing within hours. The analysis was chilling. The encounter proved that aerial combat between near-peer powers is faster and deadlier than anyone imagined. The window between peace and total war was not measured in minutes or even a single minute. It was measured in seconds. The F-22 had prevailed because of better situational awareness, not because of a dogfight. It forced the opponent to blink first. But both sides knew how close it had been. If the J-20 pilot had hesitated for 2 more seconds, Ghost 1 would have released his missile. This encounter over the Western Pacific was a warning shot that nobody heard. It showed that the next time these two giants meet at Mach speed in the thin, cold air, the weapon bay doors might not close in time.